First of all, I'd like to thank Bob and the RunSignUp team for allowing me to speak to you today. So it's an honor, and we love to tell our story, even though we don't tell it all that often. For those of you that don't know, my name is Dee Stathis. I'm the COO and Director of Operations for P3R. It stands for Pittsburgh Three Rivers Marathon Incorporated. That's why we don't say that. We are focused on our branding this year because a lot of people don't realize that we're a nonprofit organization. And when we originally came back, our goal was to basically restart the Pittsburgh Marathon. So to give you a little bit of history, I thought that was probably the best way to tell the story. In 2003, the marathon went away. It had been around for 19 years, and it had some really great things. We did a few championships for the men's and women's marathon distance, and it was pretty fantastic. We had a nice history built, and I think the largest it had ever been was about 6,000 participants at the time. So there was a very small group of people that really wanted the Pittsburgh Marathon to come back. And Patrice Matamoros and myself were privileged enough to be part of that group that brought it back. So that first year, I think we had maybe 6 people working on this event, trying to get it off the ground and get things rolling. So in 2009 was the first year back. We had 10,500 participants. And I think the most important thing for you to understand, and I was just sharing this with Bob, was we were pretty scrappy. We didn't have anything when we came back. We didn't have any databases of runners. We didn't have anything. We really started from scratch. So we did a lot of guerrilla marketing, a lot of grassroots marketing to get this off the ground. And we still see ourselves that way. We certainly don't see ourselves at 40,000 plus participants now as somebody who can sit back and relax and just take it all in. We still see ourselves as young, and we don't take it for granted. And we're always looking for new ways to market our event and really grow it. Patrice and myself both have backgrounds in marketing and sales. We really didn't have much in event planning. She was a collegiate runner, and I have run marathons and half marathons, not well, but I've done them. And I love the experience. I mean, it was just something that I could do. And so, you know, when I had this opportunity, I thought, wow, I mean, I think I can do this. I think this can be really a great thing to try. At the time I was doing freelance marketing, and I was told that this would be another one of my clients. It'd be part-time, seasonal work, not a big deal. Needless to say, by the end of that first year, I did not have any more clients and was doing probably 60 to 70 hours working on the marathon from a year-round standpoint. So it certainly wasn't any of those things. So in 2009, we had that build it, they will come, and they certainly did. When we told people, I think we had about 3,000 participants signed up, and we weren't sure what we could handle, so our break even was 3,500. So probably around 5,000 participants in, we decided that we were going to announce that we were going to sell it out. And then within 3 hours, we had about 3,000 or 4,000 more participants. And then we really started freaking out because we didn't have the shirts. We didn't have anything for these people. So we started calling our sponsors, which at the time was Dick's Sporting Goods, and saying, hey, can we have some more runner bags? Can we have some more shirts? So that first year was quite a learning experience. In 2010, we had a bomb. It actually wasn't a real bomb at our finish line. The night before that, in New York City, in Times Square, is when they had that car bomb. So the next day, there was a microwave placed near our finish line. And when somebody found it, you know, automatically Homeland Security isn't going to take any chances. They're assuming it's a bomb. So it ended up being a microwave with some raviolis in it. But they scanned it, and it looked like a bomb. It had liquids. It had, you know, what looked like bomb materials in it. So it was the most, I don't even know how to describe what that was like to any of you if you've ever experienced something like that. But you plan for an entire year. At that year, we had 16,000 participants in our race. And there's this incredible crush of Homeland Security, police, basically trying to shut your event down and really not being prepared. We definitely were not prepared that year for that particular event. Needless to say, after that, we became experts on Homeland Security, we became experts on crisis communications, everything. And we were very fortunate that it wasn't a bomb, nobody found out, everyone finished the race. Some of them did not finish the way they were supposed to. We had to reroute people from the finish line, and some ran through a train station, down some steps and up to the other side. And I mean, it was really comical. We can laugh about it now, but at the time it was probably one of the most intense things that we had ever experienced. So at that point, we are now experts. I don't care what anybody says. We became experts immediately on event planning. And at this point too, we've been pushed around the city a little bit. I mean, the city I think was excited to have us back, but you know, 26.2 miles of a city is a lot of city miles, and we were using a lot of city resources. And I don't think necessarily that the city, when it came to like the Department of Public Works and Police, were too thrilled about having us. In fact, after the first year, they were shocked that we would want to have it again. So I don't think they understood that we were revitalizing something that had existed, and then our intention was to keep it coming back. In 2011, we moved our finish line again. So if you can imagine, we don't have a lot of volunteers, we don't have a lot of infrastructures, and we certainly don't have a lot of support from the city at this time. And we're kind of being pushed around the city, and we're trying to figure out new start line, new finish line every year. So it was a real challenge. In 2011, we created the Steel City Roadrunners Club. And so as we're still trying to get our hands on this operations, we're determining to ourselves that we really need to build some advocates for us. So we created the Steel City Roadrunners, and that was basically the runner's voice. That was the runner sponsorship of our event. We also added some Halloween races in a county park north of Pittsburgh that has a lake and a 5-mile loop. So there was a lot going on there. We added a Halloween race to that. And then we also created something called Rock the Run, which was allowing us to put bands on our course. Now, we have had bands on our course even from year one, but we really decided to make it a program, something that we could get people to really own and plug into. At this point, we have about 80 bands that play on the course during the marathon. I'm not sure, I think we started out with maybe about 30, and that was a challenge in and of itself. We actually had an intern who started that program and got it off the ground. It is a volunteer opportunity, so we do not compensate the bands that participate in the event, and what we do is we promote them. So we did use Race Joy as an app when we listed all the bands in there. We do a lot of things to get some publicity for them, and they do appreciate that. And those that want to do that, in fact, they bring their friends and their family and their groupies and attend the event. And some of them have told us some anecdotal things, is that it's probably their favorite event to do because the runners thank them over and over again, and some of them will stop and dance and cheer and sing, and that really makes their day. And they also see people struggling as they're running by, and they can cheer that runner on, and they know they've made a difference. And they said when you're playing in a bar or somewhere else, you don't really get that interaction, so they love it. They absolutely love it. And then we also created a cheer-a-thon program, and we actually had a little contest on our social media channels, and we asked people what would you call someone who is cheering on marathon runners or cheering on our runners along the course. And so this went on for a few days, and they came up with cheer-a-thoners and a little vote, and everybody voted, and so that's what it's been ever since. So basically what that is it's really any group. I mean, sometimes it's our charity groups, but it could be high school bands or high schools. We have the Steel City Greyhounds that set up every year, and these are just groups, and we establish where they stand on the course, and they become a cheer-a-thon group, and their goal is to cheer the runners on. And then after the race, we do a contest to see which cheer-a-thon group you like the best, and then they can win some prize money. So it's actually been really great. The reason I mentioned the Steel City Greyhounds is because they seem to win every year because everybody loves those dogs. They just really interact well with the crowds. But I mean, we even had, the pit band, the pit cheerleaders. It's great. It's a really fun program, and I think it really adds a lot to the event and to the course and to the experience of the runners. We also, even from year one, we spent a lot of time visiting other races, working start lines, working finish lines, checking out what their charity programs do. We became students of it because, as I said, my background isn't in event management, it was in marketing, so I really wanted to know what other races were doing. I mean, if I'm the person that's going to be standing at the finish line, I better know what the heck I'm supposed to do. So we became students of the sport and really spent a great deal of our fall and spring months visiting other races. So we weren't embarrassed at all to do any of it. We just knew we didn't know anything. So it was fantastic.